Hey, good morning. What would a Wednesday morning be without a quick audio issue at the top of the show? But hey, listen. Happy New Year! It's 2024. We're back. Come on, ref is back. I took a week off. I know the guys were here last week, and Natalie was here last week. But I'm back for another show again. New year. I don't know. What do we think, guys? Same show or different show? You guys are in different places. I see you got the no behind you, Jared, Max, and Nick. Is that an omen of what's going to happen today on the show? Is it just a no from you guys?
I'm glad you're back, Chad. I don't think Jared did a good job.
You might be the only one. I appreciate that. Neal and Natalie, how you doing? You're on the bottom of my screen on the green screen. Are we gonna put like a beach scene behind that? We gotta put something tropical behind you guys when we edit this, right?
Yeah.
Be in space or something, just floating out there. Listen, I think we got a pretty good show for you guys. First show of 2024, like I said. A little bit later on, we'll get to maybe some of our New Year's resolutions. So you guys, I popped that on you by surprise. So think about that. If you've got one, you don't have to have one. And we'll talk about, we've got the playoff picture. It's actually good news for once, the NFL playoff picture here in Cleveland. We can relax a little bit going into week 18. That's fun. We'll obviously talk about the college football, the CFP national championship. That game is set. Whether you like it or not, we're going to talk about, I guess, one of the teams that's in there, but no big deal. Let's get to my man, Jared, right now. Jared, give us some headlines, man. I couldn't come up with anything. I'm going to let you take over the headlines this week. Tell me what's important in sports right now that we're not going to cover today on the show.
First headline that's very important to note out, Chad. The Pistons finally ended their losing streak, getting the victory last week, I believe, over the Raptors, finally ending their 28-game losing streak. It's been a long time coming for people in Detroit, in the Motor City, Pistons fans. Definitely a terrible season still for them, but finally they got a W on the schedule.
Good for them. Neal, the Pistons won, man.
I'm a Celtics fan.
I was just trying to get you riled up about something. That's all right. We'll talk about the Lions later.
Oh,
Jared, what else you got going on, man? Oh, I'm sorry. What's that?
The Irishman's back.
Yeah, that's the other headline. McGregor will be fighting Chandler in June. McGregor making his big return to the octagon. Personally, I think McGregor's washed. I think he hasn't fight in almost 2 years. He broke his leg in his last fight. I think he's really cocky. I think he still thinks he's the best fighter in the UFC, which he's not. He isn't. Don't get me wrong, love the confidence level. I loved your enthusiasm. But at the end of the day, you're washed. Just retire already.
He's become.
What does this fight prove? He's wrestling, or not wrestling, excuse me. He's fighting at 185 when him and Chandler are both going to have to gain weight for this fight when they should realistically be fighting at 175. So I don't understand why this fight is happening, why they're gaining weight for the fight. It makes zero sense to me.
I think McGregor wants a bit of a weight advantage because he knows he can probably get there quicker. But
well, like Nick said before the show, I mean, he's getting old. It's hard for him to cut weight. At the end of the day, though, I still think 185 is ridiculous. I think it's stupid.
Neither of them have ever fought at that weight before. So.
And Conor looks like every single UFC fighter when they retire, big and muscular. That's it.
Let me tell you why gaining weight for him is a good thing. Like you said, he's getting older. It's hard for him to cut weight, so him gaining weight won't be possible. And hey.
I think we lost that audio real quick, or at least I did on my end. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I can't hear you on my end, Neal. I'm not sure if you're okay or not. But
I was just gonna say, at the end of the day, I don't know what it proves for McGregor's career, for his legacy.
Maybe he'll retire.
I mean, he's already hit his peak.
All right. Well, listen, I think that's an official Come On Ref challenge from Jared to Conor McGregor. After this fight, I think Jared is challenging Conor McGregor to a fight. Maybe we'll carry that live on Come On Ref. What do you guys think?
That'd be quick.
You got to give me some training first. I have the wrestling aspect. I just don't have the fighting aspect.
That'd be quick.
You got to give me some training.
That's fair enough. I think we're going to have to come up with some money, too. I'm not sure he's going to take the bag that we can offer. I don't know if he'll accept that or not, but
For that quick
we'll find out. We'll find out. That's okay.
Another headline we wanted to get to, and I'll point Nick to this because he knows about more than I do. The Knicks made a trade.
Yeah, so the Knicks got OG Anunoby from the Raptors, as well as Precious Achiuwa in exchange for Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett. To me, I don't really love this trade for the Knicks. I thought if you were going to move on from RJ Quickley, you could have gotten a better package than just Anunoby and Achiuwa. To me, this move doesn't move the needle for me at all with the Knicks. Because we've been talking about it for a while now that the Knicks are pursuing a star player, maybe Donovan Mitchell from the Cavs, maybe some other guys. And I feel like it's got to be kind of disappointing for Knicks fans to have this be the big move that they've been waiting for. Because I don't think a team led by Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, and OG Anunoby is a real threat to make a finals run. I really don't. So I don't. It just doesn't move the needle for me. I don't really know. It's a kind of a lateral move, not lateral, but it just doesn't make them any better, in my opinion. Really.
I feel like it make them worse. RJ Barrett was one person that led them in the playoff last season, so
He never showed up though.
losing him kind of big link.
Do you think they're making some roster moves, maybe trying to flip some salary around in order to maybe try to get a guy like?
They could, but
I don't know. I mean,
their best trade assets were Barrett and Quickley. Those were their two best assets.
Yeah. All right. Sorry, I was having trouble hearing you guys again. I don't know if it's on my end or if it's on your end, but every once in a while the audio goes away, so I apologize for that. But yeah, I don't know. I just think I don't know, NBA trades are funny because you have to match the money and everything has to go together. That's tough for me. It's hard to find trade partners for me.
What would the Knicks give the Cavs now if they wanted to trade for Mitchell?
They don't
I don't know. That's what I was trying to think about. I have no idea.
What do they get rid of Randall or Brunson for him?
Doesn't it feel like the Cavs would be giving up if that happened? I mean, a little bit to you.
Yeah,
They would punt. They'd be punting.
Yeah, I just
Like third, fourth.
The Knicks though, there's all this hype that they're going to get another star around Brunson and Randall, and you just gave up your best assets for OG Anunoby, who's a good player. He's a very good player.
They thought they were going to get Mitchell from Utah, and they traded. They moved everything around, and then Utah went right to the Cavs with him.
Yeah,
Let's be honest. It's just like every New York franchise. They make moves and they still suck.
Yeah.
Besides the Yankees, every New York franchise continues to suck. Maybe the Rangers in the NHL and the Islanders, but other than that, it's like every other New York franchise. They continue to make moves with the money they so claim have, and they continue to suck. So it's not going to matter for the Knicks. It's really not.
Yeah, I mean, OG's a really good player. He's a good defender, knocks down the three pretty well. He's a player that every team would like to have. I think that he was a guy I think would be like the perfect small forward for the Cavs if there was, because we've been longing for a 3-and-D presence like that. But to me, he's not a guy who moves the needle with the Knicks, especially. So.
It's just like how the Guardians got rid of Savali and Josh Bell. Like Josh Bell wasn't hitting well, but like Savali was kind of our best pitcher at the time because everyone was hurt. So it's like, do the Cavs pull Guardians and absolutely give up with Donovan Mitchell? Or
I don't think Donovan Mitchell is comparable at all to Aaron Savali.
Well, I'm not saying that, but like, do they?
Give him the hat. Hey, get the hat out. Where's the hat? Give him the field goal post hat.
But
Sorry.
Is that it for headlines?
Well, I mean, yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. I'll kick it back over to you, Chad, for college football. Big things to talk about in the college football scene, obviously, with the semifinal matchups this past weekend. Yeah, I actually wanted to get to that last, if you guys don't mind. I feel like there's the most to break down there. I kind of want to get to the NFL first, if you don't mind. Yeah, I just want to move right on to the Browns because, listen, man, the Browns clinched a playoff spot. It's crazy to say that the Browns are locked in. Like, usually going into the last week of the season, you know, it's like the playoff picture. If the Browns are alive, it's like they need 3 teams to, like, lose. They need 2 teams to tie, but it has to be a specific score. It has to be like 8-8. It can't be 7-7. And then the Browns have to win 2 games in 1 week, and it's like, okay, they might be able to, it's like impossible, right? But the Browns are finally locked into a playoff spot. So I don't know. I guess let me ask you this. If you are Kevin Stefanski, if you're Andrew Berry, you've got a banged up offensive. Well, I mean, let's be honest. You've got a banged up entire roster. Everybody's banged up.
I mean, I'm sure there are coaches that are limping around the sidelines right now. Do you play starters on Sunday if you're the Browns?
No.
The Browns do not need to start anyone. And if you look what Joe Flacco has done since he's come to Cleveland, everyone has Flacco fever, they so call it, and everyone is loving it. And this could be an NFL script that we see in the making. Flacco in the playoffs gets a first-round victory, then has to face Baltimore in the second round of the playoffs. His former team,
At Baltimore.
So this could be a script that's destined and meant to be for the NFL and for Browns fans and for Joe Flacco.
But right now, the opponent is unclear because we could have 3 of 4 teams from the NFC South.
If I'm the Browns, I want to face Jacksonville because
okay, that's what I was going to get to. Yeah, who do they match up best with? Do you think?
Yeah,
that's what I was gonna get to.
I think they match up best with Jacksonville.
Okay.
Because when they faced the Colts, their defense was not great. Miles Garrett single-handedly won that game.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Our defense did definitely get beat to shreds by Gardner Minshew. That was one of our worst defensive games of the season. But we didn't have Joe Flacco in that game. We had PJ Walker as our starting QB. Browns offense.
Watson started.
No, Watson started. But PJ Walker played 78% of that game. Yeah.
I'm not worried about Jackson.
But even then, I don't want to face the Texans either because we didn't face CJ Stroud.
That seems scary to me. Yeah, Neal and Natalie, I want to hear from you guys. Who, if you had to pick, I mean, I don't want to I don't want to give anybody bulletin board material. I don't think the Colts, Jaguars, and Texans are watching the show. Maybe they are, but if you guys had to pick right now, I mean, who would you rather see the Browns play? I know Neal, you're a Lions fan, you don't care, but you're going to pretend you care for a minute.
I would probably say the Jags because what was that, Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're definitely not scared of Trevor. I would say that I would want to see the Jags first. Definitely. We gonna run through them, and I wouldn't want to see Jared said, we didn't have CJ Stroud as that starting quarterback when we played the Texans. I'm not trying to really play with them first. Let's get through the Jags and move on.
See, my view of it, y'all Brown situation is the same with the Lions. Y'all about to face y'all former quarterback because right now we want to pass face man Stafford coming to Detroit, so that's kind of crazy. The Browns and Lions the same path, but I want to see y'all play in the playoffs. I want to see the Texans. I mean, I love to see that man from Ohio State come there and play.
Yeah.
Well, y'all have to go there though, right?
Right.
Yeah. Well, it should be interesting to see and to know that the Texans and the Colts will be playing each other this weekend. Whoever wins that game is in the playoffs.
I think the winner of that game was in the playoffs. The loser's out. I personally would rather see us play either the Colts or the Jaguars. The Texans, I think, because they have the best QB with CJ Stroud, that's the most dangerous matchup. I mean, Gardner Minshew did play good against us last time, but we still found a way to win that game with PJ Walker as our QB. So I think with Joe Flacco as our quarterback, we could definitely beat them. And last time the Browns played in Indy, Browns fans took over that stadium. There was Myles Garrett chants going on a road game. I think Browns fans will travel into Indy, show up well. Yeah. And Jaguars fans, they also they don't show out the most for their team. So I think Browns fans.
Yeah, what's with Florida teams? Why do Florida teams have such a hard time getting? Is it just there's so much to do in Florida? I mean, why is that?
This is the thing with the Browns. They obviously do not play as well on the road as they do at home. But if I do want to go somewhere on the road, it is Jacksonville because Jacksonville statistically this season has played better actually on the road away from Jacksonville than they have at home this season. So I think that's basically kind of like a home game in disguise, if you will, for the Browns playing in Jacksonville versus Houston or Indianapolis.
I mean, I saw something that said that there will be tailgates in Indianapolis and Jacksonville, but there won't be one in Houston. Because I think everyone knows Houston's going to show up because they haven't had a playoff team since Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, so
you've got a lot to be excited about down there. I mean, I would think they would show up and show out.
I think the Browns can beat any of these teams, though. I do. I would take the Browns over any of these 3 teams. I just think Houston is the least likely one that I would want to face.
Yes, I completely agree. And the defense is going to have to show up. Like we said, the Browns have been banged up with injuries. Denzel Ward hasn't been playing that much. Garrett was a little beat up. So at the end of the day, the defense is what really have gotten us to this 11-5 record. Don't get me wrong, Joe Flacco has helped with that. Yeah. But at the end of the day, It's going to start with that defense.
But
I think
it's a
with
lot-
Joe Flacco.
But does Elijah Moore play? Could that be an also X factor?
Yeah, with that concussion like brutal, I really hope Elijah gets healthy. And because, I mean, having this off, this game not mattering is so huge for the Browns, getting to the chance to get healthy going into the playoffs. Joel
It's your bye
Bitonio's-
week. It's your bye week, basically.
basically,
Yeah.
we don't
I mean,
need to play
that's
anybody.
what it's like for a lot of teams that have already clinched a playoff spot or won the division.
It's just
basically
huge.
bye week.
We play
It's
in our
so
players
huge
next
having it's so huge having this week to get healthy for them.
Do you think they run the risk of getting out of rhythm though? I mean, everybody always says you want to stay in rhythm. You want to keep, keep all the
I
parts
don't-
moving.
I don't think it'd be a problem because I mean Cooper didn't play on Thursday night, and it's good because he has what 2 weeks to heal now,
Yeah.
and then we could get Anthony Walker back. I think Agbo Okoronkwo is pretty much done.
The Browns have had guys going in and out of the lineup all season long, and it really hasn't seemed to matter all that much who's in and out right now.
Yeah, it's really been next man up. I mean, they've looked like they just have a nonstop stable of guys that just plug in everywhere. I mean, it's going to run out eventually.
really
Somebody
has-
said on the I was listening to the radio yesterday, and we're talking about whether or not they should play the starters on Sunday. And if they don't have their full offensive line, or at least a good portion of it out there, I don't think Flacco goes anywhere near the field, or at least I don't think he should.
No,
It's funny because someone was like, "Well, there's no depth behind Flacco," and I'm like, Flacco is the depth. I mean, of course, there's no depth behind Flacco. Like he was on the couch 8 weeks ago. That's it.
What's the point? You can't have injuries, especially at this time of the year. We saw with the Dolphins, Bradley Chubb,
Played Flacco this week.
torn
He
ACL.
is about 87 years old.
Hey, you better stop playing.
Wait, Can we lose the 5th seed or are we
No,
locked in?
no,
Okay,
the
So,
Browns-
lock in.
See,
bench everybody. Like, seriously, send them all.
because Joel Bitonio, Joel Bitonio's been playing through stuff recently.
Yeah.
So he's got a back injury. It's been hurting him. So getting our O-line healthy, getting our receivers healthy, because right now we don't have our top 2 receivers. We don't have Elijah Moore or Amari Cooper.
But will he play that?
I mean, not this week.
There's no point when the Bengals aren't even fighting for a playoff spot either. They got eliminated last week against the Chiefs. There's no point. And an athlete playing the game is just as important as recovery. So they need to focus on the recovery part right now if they want to have a shot at winning this first round playoff.
That'd be your excuse if you're losing the first round. Oh, we was out of rhythm. They said everybody.
No, that doesn't mean
No,
anything.
that
That doesn't mean
doesn't
anything.
mean
A
No.
lot of teams
Yeah.
bench their players for the week 18
I
and
tried.
put them fine in the
Well,
playoffs.
Mark Jackson's not going to play, and he still has the MVP on
But
lock.
that's Lamar Jackson. They put up
And this
63
is Joe
points.
Flacco.
Oh, so-
Something Deborah said in the comments here. She said she thinks the Browns are doing well despite the injuries. It's almost like they're having one of these weird years where they're doing well because of the injuries. Because I don't know if they're sitting at 11-5 right now if Joe Flacco is not on this roster.
I mean, but,
if it's Deshaun Watson, maybe they're 9-7, maybe they're 10-7. I have no idea. I don't know.
I disagree with that just because Deshaun was 4-1 as their starter this year. So
No, you're right though. He was starting to play really well. You're right. I will give you that. You are.
He
Right.
did win games with PJ Walker and Dorian Thompson-Robinson as our quarterback. So it's
Yeah,
just,
that was a little revisionist history for me. You're right.
no matter who has been out there for them. And I just want to take a time real quick to now that it's official that the Browns are going to the playoffs. I want to call out some people all the doubters that the Browns had this season. Chad, and I know you're one of them. You are a Browns fan, but you are one of them. You
I
predicted
was,
us.
yeah.
You predicted us to come in last this season,
Mhm.
and that was
So did
really
I.
fully healthy.
So did I.
So did Jared. And guess who's here? Guess who's 11-5? Guess who's going to the playoffs despite all the injuries with Joe Flacco? And guess it looks like Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry have built a culture here in Cleveland. And
There's a foundation.
it really has been. And all the people who talk down on the Browns all off season, all year heading into the season are looking pretty stupid right now.
I mean, don't
And I saw
don't
the
get
whole
me
way.
wrong.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with looking stupid. I'm great with it.
Am I excited for the Browns? Yes. Do I think they're going to go far in the playoffs? No.
Oh,
I
I
don't.
Okay, yeah.
They're the biggest threat to Baltimore in the AFC right now.
That's a
They are, but I still don't.
I
I still think they make it to the second round and they lose.
Because we see,
I would take that. That's a successful
Wait,
season.
I know. I'm just saying. I think that's realistically where they're going to.
Because
That's a successful
if Miami
season.
loses, are they out?
No.
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 Because I mean that's Sunday night games for the East of AFC East.
Can we look at the rest of the playoff picture? I just kind of want to look at and we don't have to like break down teams and predictions or whatever, but I just want to take a look at the playoffs real quick since we're talking about who's in. That's where it is right now, headed into week 18. Some of those parts can move. Some of those things are going places. Obviously, the Ravens aren't. The Browns are locked in. A couple other teams are locked in. Just real quick, I mean, have you guys has your Super Bowl prediction changed at all? Anyone? No? Yes?
No, not really.
Preseason,
I think the Eagles aren't going to get past.
I did think I had the Ravens and the Eagles to start. Now I said a few weeks ago on the 1 yard line for me and Nick's show, Ravens and 49ers. I think that's going to stand for now.
Okay.
Neal's over there thinking I'm crazy. I'm sorry, Neal. The Lions
Cowboys
suck.
fan don't even win his own team in the Super Bowl.
Don't get me wrong. The Lions are.
That just means he's been watching the Cowboys for a long time, Neal. He knows.
Don't get me wrong. The Lions and the Cowboys, great team, but they suck on the road. It's plain and simple. And when you go in the Bay Area, the 49ers are a different team. Their offense is electric.
That's fair.
And with God throwing interceptions like it's his day job.
Are we talking about Lions? We talking about Lions Cowboys now? Is that what we're talking about? Lions Cowboys now?
Playoff picture.
Oh, okay.
With Dallas not playing that well on the road either, I truly think this is the 49ers conference to lose. Like the Eagles are not the same Eagles they were middle way through the season. The Eagles are continuing to suck. They lost to the Cardinals last week. Their defense is atrocious. It really is.
Yeah.
So I do think the Eagles, say they finish as the 5th seed and they beat Tampa Bay or whoever wins that crappy division. They'll be
division down there. They're cannibalizing. It's like the SEC. They're cannibalizing each other. Come on.
They'll be the second round exit. Eagles will be a second round exit. I don't see Nick Sirianni and this Eagles team doing anything this year like they did last year, making it to the Super Bowl. I really don't.
I saw something saying that that AJ Brown is the cause of all this, but I'm like, I don't really believe that.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you what's the problem with the Eagles right now. Matt Patricia, he was the coach of the O-line, our coach before, man. He's a bad coach. Ever since he was in the league, and he called the plays to win the Super Bowl, he did it. Like I don't forget him in his business.
Not even the Eagles. The Eagles' defense is a problem, but their turnovers too. Jalen Hurts continues to throw interceptions, and they're playing off as they're nothing because they're 11-5. But realistically, they shouldn't be 11-5. They should probably be 12-4, 13-3 right now.
Aren't they second
realistically
division right now?
Jared, how does that happen? How does an offense look so in tune one year and then basically with the same personnel look so out of sorts the next season? How can that happen?
Shane Steichen.
They lost Shane Steichen. They lost their play caller from last year, and he's shown in Indy this year. He's won games with Gardner Minshew now as his quarterback.
I mean, shouldn't any NFL coach be able to step in and go, okay, I can watch film and see what worked. Let's do the same thing. Like, can't you do that?
You would think, but then again, I watched Freddie Kitchens call plays for my favorite team at one point. So you would think that NFL players can look at the film and see what works and then use that in their offense. But sometimes I think sometimes play callers are stubborn and they have to do it this way. And I think that might be what we're seeing with the Eagles right now, because I know Eagles fans, they're pretty pissed off with how the offense is running right now. But I think the main problem is their defense, though. Their defense stinks. So to me, I think the NFC comes down to, I think the Niners.
Like I said, it's their conference to lose.
It is the Niners to lose, no doubt. And I think the AFC is the favorite. I think right now the Niners and Ravens are as big of a favorite heading into the playoffs as we've seen in years. Like, it's pretty clear who the top team is in each conference. It's pretty clear right now. But
any doubt Lamar's the MVP now? Is there any doubt that Lamar's the MVP?
I have 20,000 to win it right now. You wouldn't even win any money if you bet on him. So
yeah.
But I still think that I'm not going to rule out the Lions or the Cowboys in the playoffs. I think there still are good teams who could make a run at it. And it's never a lot. Like, we've seen teams look dominant in the regular season and then choke in the playoffs to teams that are much worse than them. We've seen that a lot. Yeah. But the Lions and Cowboys, I think they could have a shot, but it's the Niners to lose in the NFC, and it's the Ravens to lose in the AFC. In the AFC,
okay, Neal and Natalie, let me ask you this real quick. Do you guys agree with me or disagree with me? I'm going all in Browns-Lions Super Bowl. What do you think?
I know.
You're dreaming.
The Browns, going, I'm not even, and this is why I'm so confident, okay? And this is not just because I'm a Browns fan and I've been here for 40 years. I'm just looking at everything like in a nutshell, like where we came from, how we got there, the struggle that we have endured to get here. And people, like Nick said, people are bandwagon. People did not expect us to be 11. I believe it's going to be us. I'm not going to say the Lions, though. You lie.
You guys acted like the Lions are the greatest team ever, and they're
No,
11-5.
No, I didn't say
They
that.
got powder blue as a color.
It's
Let's
not,
be
it's
clear.
hallelujah.
I got
It's
powder blue.
hallelujah.
I love powder
And
blue.
let me tell you why. Chargers tell you why. Listen, hold on.
Well, okay, but the Browns and I'm honestly gonna say Kansas City, but go ahead.
That's the same division of what we're being.
I'm sorry, 49ers. I'm sorry, they got the same.
Same colors. You know what she meant.
Yeah, sorry.
Let me tell you why. The
I'm
Lions,
still going to.
let me tell you why the Lions will come up in the NFC. You got the best coach, you got the best offensive coordinator.
You got the best what?
Coach,
Coach.
you heard me?
Coach.
I don't believe that.
Like,
Does your coach deal with like 45 injuries on his roster all year?
52% of our roster is injured. Let's be clear.
We got a players coach, our whole
We got
coaching
a
staff.
fourth quarterback.
Fourth quarterback, what does that mean? This is a franchise, he turned around.
He's 40.
Kevin Stefanski's
This is a franchise, he turned around. From the dog, he only 16.
Did you just say dog?
So our team dog pitch. Yeah, we down there with y'all.
Hey, Neal,
Neal,
the Lions could be a one-hit wonder. Let's be realistic here. Because
I
Kevin
challenge that take.
Stefanski
Hold on, we got a challenge flag thrown on the play. Hold on.
Kevin Stefanski has shown with the Browns in recent years that he's not just a one-hit wonder. He can lead this team to a winning season.
And what has Dan showed us since he got there?
Dan's a great coach.
So he's a great coach. He's a great coach, but it's a one-hit wonder.
How's it one hit wonder?
Because overall in his coaching career, he's not even 500.
What you mean?
He's not even 500.
Right.
They won
Yeah.
one.
I think he's 26-30 as a head coach for the
He's
Lions.
getting there.
I'll push back on that a little bit because he did take over a team that was going through a massive rebuild when he did. The Lions had a lot of
So
issues.
Stefanski did too.
I know he did. No, he did.
What was it, Dave? We had, man, come
The
on.
Lions, he took over a really bad team. They started off 0-10-1 his first season there. And now then his second year going from 3-13 to a winning record. And then
The
The
now
Lions
in the
Knocking the
playoffs,
Packers out of the
they won.
playoffs and sending Aaron Rodgers out of the NFC.
I still think though Dan Campbell is a great coach. And I think that right now, Kevin Stefanski and Dan Campbell are the top two guys for Coach of the Year right now. Stefanski has it locked up. He is the Coach of the Year, no doubt. But Dan Campbell, to me, is second place. He's a really good coach.
It's a
Well,
close second.
it's not
It's
just
a close second.
It's not just Dan Campbell. It's the Lions front office because their draft picks from this past year have shined.
Oh, we had the best GM in the league.
Gibbs,
Michigan fans will tell you it's Aiden Hutchinson. It's all Aiden Hutchinson. That's it.
Aiden Hutchinson as well. Like
He's tough. He's good. He's
they're
really
running- the Lions' running game this season is probably the best running game I think in the NFL. Like starter and backup
good.
you
Yeah.
combined because Gibbs and Montgomery
We got two
they're
starters,
just
ain't no
two.
backup
They're two
over here.
pieces. They're two
And
pieces.
that's how you win playoff games when it's cold, right? Defense and being able to run the ball.
I said this last week. Just the only real concern I have with the Lions is their secondary, and they did get carved up by CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott last week. So
Okay,
to me,
He
if they
tripped.
lose in their
He tripped.
playoffs,
It was a trip.
if they lose in the playoffs, it will be because of their secondary. But not to me, they're just that they
We
have
got help on the way.
glaring weakness.
This is
right
what
now.
y'all don't understand. Help is on the way. We got CJ, GJ coming back.
He's missed so much time. How
So-
He did his last. You
Hey,
can't.
hey,
He's just gonna be fresh. His legs are gonna be fresh. You gotta look at it that way, right?
Why don't you tell Barnes to get some contact lenses? Because apparently he couldn't see Dak Prescott in the end zone.
We set Barnes down. We talked to Barnes, man. He's gonna be all right.
So wait,
And then we got that boy
you
James
think CJ Gardner Johnson's gonna be like an immediate threat?
Hey, man,
We're talking about Flacco being 40 and contact lens. There's starting to be a lot of old references. I want to move on before we start to offend somebody. 40 is not old. Let's get that clear. Offend someone like me.
76.
What?
He's 76, not 40.
Stop it.
Who is?
76 that's closer to getting old. That's closer to getting old. Now, if you get into the 80 range, then we're getting old. First of all, wait, before we move on, Natalie, I want to say I love the dog pound chain. And Neal, I love what I think is that a 3 commemorating the Pistons win? Is that a 3 that chain? Is that you're a Celtics fan. Never mind. I'm sorry.
Boston. Boston.
It's a cat.
Let's keep it local real quick. I want to go let's check in on the Cavs. Guys, the Cavs are 18 and 15. All right. Well, there's an argument. There's a whole argument going on the screen right now, I think. The Cavs are 18 and 15. They're still a basketball team, I think, right? They still have basketball players. They play in the NBA. They play other NBA teams. They have the schedule. They have jerseys and everything. But listen, the Cavs are confusing to me. They're a little bit like the Knicks right now. They're 11 and 2 against like the bad teams in the NBA, but they can't beat any against teams 500 and above. They're 7 and 13. We know about the injuries. How do you? Which way are the Cavs going? Are they going to trade Donovan Mitchell and give up on this thing, or are they going to make a playoff push? Somebody tell me something.
They're gonna have to make a
I
push.
think they're going to make a playoff push.
Make the play.
Chad, because based off of that stat that you just told us, I do think once they get Garland back, once they get
Mobley back, but
Mobley
that's in like
back.
February.
I do think that record of teams against 500 and better goes up.
Yeah.
And yes, they're not going to be fully healthy until February, and it doesn't give you a lot of time. But I think at the end of the day, it's like, what do you have to lose? Like, either way, if you don't make the playoffs with or without Garland and Mobley and Jared Allen and Mitchell, at the end of the day, Mitchell's contract is up by the end of the year. I don't think they're going to retain Mitchell either way.
No.
So I do not really think it matters if you're the Cavs.
So your best bet
if you're
is trade him and get some assets.
Yeah, I think if you're the Cavs, you're in a really, really tough spot right now, just because I think it's pretty clear, even with when Garland and Mobley were out there, that this team isn't built to make a deep playoff run this season. And
It's not like
with Donovan Mitchell's contract expiring at the end of the year, you're in a really tough spot because you might not re-sign. You don't know. I want Donovan Mitchell to be a Cavalier. I want him to be our franchise player for years to come. But right now, if he's not going to re-sign, you can't just let him walk for nothing. And if you don't think you're going to take a real run this year, then what do you do?
That's the thing, though.
to
Like,
try
what do you trade for? Like some pointless draft picks? Because let's be honest, after the first round in the NBA draft, do the other rounds really matter?
It's only 2 rounds.
I know.
No, it doesn't matter. Second round picks are tough. I mean, most second round picks don't really hit. They've got to restock. They've got to start restocking the cupboard a little bit. But Nick, let me ask you this. Okay, so if Donovan Mitchell leaves, or if the tendency if that we think he's going to leave, do we think it's because the coach is holding them back right now, or is it because of Evan Mobley's development?
I think it's just the roster construction in general. I think that currently it's a poorly constructed roster just because you have 2 short guards who aren't great on defense.
Yeah.
And then you have 2
They
big men.
can't play together.
You have 2 big men who are good on defense but can't shoot. So I mean, there's a lack of you get lack of shooting on the big men, and then you get a lack of defense from your guards, and that's why we've seen the Cavs repeatedly get burned by teams that are really good shooting the three, like Jalen Brunson last year, because our perimeter guys sometimes can't defend because they're too small and not really that good on defense. And then we've also seen times where the Cavs just don't have enough shooting in the game, especially when they play Isaac Okoro in the game as well. It's just a poorly constructed roster. And I know it's revisionist history. I still just wish somehow they were able to find a way to keep Lauri Markkanen. I think Lauri Markkanen and Mobley would have been a much well put together front court than Allen and Mobley together, just because neither of those guys can shoot. In the NBA, you can't have 2 big men who clog up the paint and can't shoot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I think the roster is a little clunky. I think we saw that in the playoffs last year. They really didn't. They couldn't compete with New York. I mean, they didn't have anything that it took to compete. Natalie, what's your gut feeling on this? I mean, when you think about the Cavs, I mean, which way are they going? I know guys, the guy said playoff push, but I really feel like it's heading the other way. I mean, what do you think?
I'm trying not to think like that.
I think since I did it to the Browns, if I say the Cavs are going to, slide off, maybe that'll put them maybe they'll end up in the 3 spot in the East now. I don't know.
They
I
have
won't
a
go
spot.
that far, Chad. But hey, you better stop laughing. But Troy, let's be clear. I think we might have when people come back, start with Mobley and
Garland.
Yeah, Garland.
Mm-hmm.
I think we won't make. I don't think we're making it to the playoffs this year. To be honest, it's just not there. Like it's just not there. The energy is off. People hurt.
The chemistry fell off when they were on the floor. I don't know. It just feels like it's one of those seasons. I don't know.
This year, I think we should just throw this year away and then just start over next year because.
And if they don't make the playoffs, do they move on from Bickerstaff? Is that a realistic possibility or no?
Yeah,
I think
at
so.
this point, yeah.
You still have a really good young core, even if Mitchell. So if you sleep, I think they still have a window here. That's why it's hard to just punt this season away because you still have 3 really good young players in Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, and Jared Allen. I mean, that's not even including Donovan Mitchell. So you have a good core, and the future could still be bright for the Cavs. They just need to reconstruct this roster. I don't know how they're going to do it. It's going to be very challenging for Kobe Altman to do this offseason, but I don't know. I still think the Cavs have a bright future if Altman can make the right moves around their core.
Yeah, let's work down for the Cavs.
I mean, this year they're not doing anything. I'll say that this year they're not going to be.
They move the ball yard by yard.
The East is just so scripted too. I mean, you have the top 4 teams. I don't know in typical order. 76ers.
Milwaukee, Boston, and Miami.
Yeah, those are the top
Boston's
four
really
teams.
good, man. I mean, Boston's really good.
And realistically, those should be the top 4 teams that make it to the conference semifinals. Realistically.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I always look at the teams who are good against the teams that are above 500. And Boston is like 15-6 against teams 500. I mean, they're astronomically better than everyone in the East right now. Celtics are good, man.
yeah, and I really think they're the favorite to win.
And they went out and got a big guy, right? And like solidified the right. I mean, I just wish it would have worked out. Yeah.
I just don't know what the Cavs can do to get on the same level as Milwaukee and Boston.
I don't know.
What is there out there?
They don't
that can
have
get
it.
them on that level.
They don't have a Greek freak.
don't-
They don't got
They
Jason.
don't have a superstar. They
If
have
they could somehow win the lottery and get a once in a lifetime draft pick from, I don't know, Akron, Ohio, and just maybe that would help. I don't know.
We're not bad enough for that right now. We're kind of in the no
Not bad enough. That's the thing. They're going to toil in that like mediocrity. It's like, 6 to 8 seeds for the next 3 to 4 years if they don't do something, right?
We're at the halfway point.
All right. Well, what else is going around in the NBA? I mean, does anybody have anything? The Pistons won their 3rd game. They ended that losing streak. That's horrific. I'm glad that's over for them. I don't know how many more they're going to win this season, but hey, whatever. What else is going on? Do you guys have anything in the NBA you want to talk about?
Clarkson got the first triple-double since like 2008 for Utah Jazz.
Okay.
Last night, the Thunder beat Boston as well. We just talked about how good Boston is. OKC Thunder look like a legit threat in the West right now, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Chet Holmgren, as well as Jalen Williams, looks like a really, really good trio. And I think OKC, they're gonna people knew they had a really bright future, but I think that their windows has opened before a lot of people thought that it would.
Yeah.
I mean, beating a really damn good Boston team last night was really impressive. I watched some of that game, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a superstar.
Saw some eyes as well. John Morant coming back from his suspension, getting a few games in, facing Wembanyama, or how do you say it? Wembanyama, the French giant. So there were a lot of eyes on that last night.
Yeah.
John Morant going against the Spurs and Wembanyama. So I'll get it right eventually.
Somebody dunked on Wembanyama a couple weeks ago. Who was that? Somebody dunked on him pretty bad.
Dunked on him last night.
Yeah.
You better pat him down before you let him in the arena.
Maybe he's not the shot blocker we thought he was, right?
I mean, well, he leads the league in blocks. So
I
Maybe
feel
he is
like,
the shot blocker we thought he was.
don't get me wrong, John Morant, he proved before he got suspended that he's a good basketball player, and he did that in college. But I feel like the media is overhyping him way too much right now. Like, he just got back.
Yeah.
Like, give him some time to develop.
But I mean, the Grizzlies are playing so much better since he came back. They were 6-19 before he got there.
His
Now all
first
of a
game
sudden
back, he
he's
got a
back.
game-winning shot.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
his impact is when he's on the court. His impact is undeniable. It's just you hope he learns off the court and is able to stay on the court.
Who
and
else are the
continue
Grizzlies
to lead the Grizzlies?
Who
to success.
else are the Grizzlies going to get to, like, turn their season around?
Yeah,
I mean,
Marcus Smart.
But Ja
Marcus Smart is not
himself has helped.
Hey, they got a dog over there.
But
though.
it can't be all John. It has to
They're going to sign Mike Miller. Mike Miller is 49 years. They're going to sign Mike Miller.
I think he's washed.
You know, he's an agent now, Mike Miller.
What's that? He's an agent now?
He's Paulo Banchero's agent.
He can negotiate his own deal. There you go. He's fine. I want to move on, though. We got a little bit of time left here. We've got about 20 minutes left. I can't believe how are we at this time of year already where the college football national championship game is set? Like, how did this happen? How's college football over? I can't stand it. Listen, I guess before we talk about the championship game, let's talk about a couple of the semifinals because they were good games. I mean, no blowouts this year, right? I mean, Michigan beat Alabama 27-20 in overtime. I'm sure you guys stayed up and watched, Washington and Texas or whatever. That game came down to the wire. Either of these games could have gone either way. We could be looking at Alabama, Texas in a heartbeat. I mean, it just could have gone either way. What were your guys' feelings about these semifinals? Anything stand out to you guys?
I don't understand why Nick Saban would run a QB draw from the floor.
I don't think they did. I've seen some.
There was a bad snap.
Situation that it was supposed to be a swing pass to the running back, and the snap was bad. The snap was low, and Milroe kind of had to, I don't know, just kind of run on his own.
Honestly, in that game, the snaps were not that great.
They were low the
I
whole
mean,
game.
Michigan had a bad snap too that cost them.
Muff punts.
Michigan's bad snap cost them an extra point and sent that game into overtime in the first place.
Right.
Realistically, that game probably shouldn't have gone into overtime. We could have been looking at Alabama going for it on 4th down instead of punting it and trying to continue their drive to score a touchdown instead of in overtime, failing in overtime.
But they were inside. They were in their own half, and if they went for it on 4th and didn't get it, then Michigan
That's what I mean.
could have just ran the ball and had an easy game-winning field goal.
That's what I mean. That's what changed the game from it being applied to overtime. And Blake Corum from Michigan, I mean, he's just a stud. He has really lifted this Michigan offense this year.
It was the touchdown record.
I think JJ
56 all-time touchdown. Yeah.
I think JJ McCarty has helped a little bit with that, but I think Blake Corum is the leader of this Michigan's offense and has really just shown out this year for the Wolverines.
McCarty definitely has, and obviously as an Ohio State fan, I hate seeing this from Michigan, seeing in the national title game. If Michigan wins the national title, I mean, our life's gonna be hell as Ohio State fans.
Yeah, that's like
we're never gonna hear the end of it.
Yours.
We're never gonna hear
we
the
can
end of
say
it.
we won it first.
Yeah, I mean, we're never gonna hear the end of it. So it was. I was disgusted watching the end of that game. I was hoping Bama could help. This is the first time in my life I've ever rooted for Alabama.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
All Ohio States are.
But I'll say one thing. On that last play, all right. On that last play where that snap was low, Milroe had a walk-in touchdown if he followed the guard out of that pile. The right guard was pulling towards, and he had like a wide open lane. No one was there.
Either way,
because the linebackers went out and covered, so nothing would get through.
And he would have had 4 blockers for 3 guys over there if you're really looking at it that way. You know what I mean?
If you look at the other side, Washington and Texas turned the ball over way too much.
Oh yeah.
And that legitimately cost them the game. Because let's be honest, Washington has no defense. Their defense is atrocious. The reason they're in the national championship game is because of their offense.
Yep.
Sometimes
it's like Michael Penix is throwing bombs from the rafters. I mean, it's wild. Like he drops
because he doesn't have
in.
short. It's either that or the defense coughs up 7 points every drive. Like their defense is atrocious.
Watching Michael Penix play in that game was a spiritual experience, honestly.
It's going to be a back and forth national championship game.
Dude, he was 6 of 8 for 196 yards at one point.
His arm is ridiculous. The way he was fitting these balls in the tight windows, his zip on his ball is unlike anything I've
Left-handed
seen.
Joe Flacco.
I mean, his connection with Roma Dunzi and the other receivers on this team is special to watch. And I'm all in on this Washington team.
We have to be because they're facing.
I mean, either way, it's a Big Ten champion.
Yeah, but
Because
they were my pick to win it all when we asked this a couple weeks ago to predict the playoffs. I hope that they pull this off. Michael Penix, Roma Dunzi, their whole offense, their coaching. Kalen DeBoer has been amazing for them.
Yeah.
He's 26-2 now in 2 seasons after they were a below 500 team before he got the job.
Jake Brown.
Yeah, just the way he's been able to turn
4-8 that one year, I think. The
way he's been able to turn this Washington program around and now have them in the national title game undefeated with a chance to win their first title in over 30 years. I hope Washington's able to pull this off because they're a fun team.
Somebody's going to win their first title since the 90s here. That's,
The last time these Michigan and Washington faced each other in '97 for the national championship.
Yeah, hey.
Michigan won that.
Kind of. There were bowl games. It was different back then. But yeah.
It's weird, but I hope Washington pulls this off, man. They're a fun story. They really are.
Yeah, I agree with Nick. I hope Washington pulls it off. I predict them to win.
Watching the end of that game, that was almost a historic collapse because they run the ball, they get 3 plays, they could have run the clock down below 20 seconds, but then their running back Dylan Johnson gets hurt, and that saves 30 seconds on the clock for Texas, and they're able to drive all the way down the field, get in the red zone, almost within reach of stealing that game away. I thought I was about to watch one of the most historic collapses we've ever seen in the playoffs.
If that ball is caught, that ball was like inches from being caught.
What a play by the
It was
DB.
a wild play. And listen, right before that, for Ewers to have the wherewithal as he was going down to chuck that ball out of bounds and leave a second on the clock. I mean, I thought that kind of was underrated. Nobody's talking about that, but I thought that was a really smart play too.
I mean, what a play, though, by the Washington defensive back. I'm sorry I forgot his name, but he swatted that ball away at the last second. Ewers could have put a better ball on him because A lot of people I saw, if that's a better ball, if that's more inside, then that's probably a catch.
If that's lower, then
Yeah.
because you get that low name.
But
I mean, give credit to Texas. I mean, they had a great season.
Yeah.
First time they've been in the college playoff, I think, ever.
And
Yeah.
Brewer should be coming back next year. Texas should be back here. I mean, they have Arch
Texas is
Manning.
finally back. We can finally admit that Texas is back.
And they have
Yeah.
Arch Manning.
They will be with the 12-team playoff.
So
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh yeah, for sure.
if Quinn Ewers comes back next year, you Arch Manning to be the backup, sit another year. Steve Sarkisian has been getting big time recruits since he took that job over. So I think Texas is going to be really good for a long time now, coming under Steve Sarkisian, and they're going to be a threat for years to come. So I don't think Texas fans should be obviously going to be upset because you were so close, you had the chance, first title in a long time for them. I mean, not that long, but they've been pretty bad for a while now.
Yeah, since Vince Young. But listen, let's go to the championship game. We know it's Monday. It's January 8th. Obviously, number 1 Michigan, number 2 Washington. Listen, I'm going to watch, even though I'm kind of disgusted. I want to see Washington win. I don't want to see Michigan in the game at all. And listen, I wouldn't have a problem with Michigan being there if there wasn't the cheating scandal. I just feel like that leaves a really bad taste in my mouth. So I want to ask you guys this. I want to ask you first for your picks, predictions, and things. But first, before we do that, do you guys have problems with Michigan being in the championship game right now? Does it feel a little off?
I just have problems with being in the championship game because I'm an Ohio State fan. The
Yeah.
cheating scandal, it's not really going to bother me until after the season.
Like, what's going to happen?
Because they can't do anything right now. We're in the middle of the season. There's nothing that the committee can do.
It just
say-
leaves a weird taste. I mean, no matter who it is. I mean, regardless of the fact that I'm an Ohio State fan, I don't want a team that it seems like they've obviously done something beyond the rule. I don't know.
I'm telling you, at the Rose Bowl.
I mean, yeah, it does leave a bad taste in my mouth, mainly as an Ohio State fan, again, like Jared said. Because I think the state of the Ohio State program right now, too, after we'll get into it soon, after the miserable way the last month plus has played out. It just hurts seeing them in the title game.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can't really say anything at this point though, because they did beat Ohio State. They shut out Iowa in the conference title game, and then they beat Alabama and Nick Saban in the Rose Bowl. So they've really kind of. I mean, I don't like the whole narrative though that they are America's team and how they've overcome all this adversity like they're trying to play. That's the most.
Yeah, that bothers me too. But I want to go to the championship game. Let me start with Neal and Natalie. We just have a few minutes left here. Neal, I want to get your prediction. Give me a score prediction for the championship game and tell me a little bit about how that game goes real quick.
My score prediction is I got Washington winning 48-28.
Okay.
Yeah. I just hate Michigan, so.
Fair enough.
But yet you're a Lions fan. Doesn't make sense.
Bro, what you mean?
It doesn't have to be all regional, Max. Come on now. And listen, by the way, before we get Max's prediction, you guys just go ahead and put the field goal post hat on Max right now for this take, okay? Just get him ready, fit it on, just get it fitted on him. Natalie, what do you got for the national championship game? Washington, Michigan. What do we think?
I'm gonna say, because everyone's like, well, they came this far, they did this, they did that, yeah, but that matters. But this is where it really matters the most, the national championship. And let me tell you, I'm not taking nothing away from the team and the guys that have played and played their heart out. That ain't got nothing to do with the cheating scandal to me. I don't think they're gonna win. I think it's gonna be Washington 34, Michigan 31.
Okay. Close game. I like it. And now Max is wearing the official Come On Ref mid-take headgear. Just so you guys know.
Wow.
That's when you're going to make a mid-take and we can feel it coming, you have to put it on. Normally, we would say if you made a mid-take, you got to put the hat on, but we know it's coming from Max. Jared, national championship game. What do you got? Washington, Michigan. Who wins?
I agree in Natalie's take. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be 35-38. I think Michigan comes out on top, unfortunately. Washington's defense is atrocious. It's probably almost as bad as USC's. So the fact that they have a high-scoring, powering offense is great, but the cliche sports saying is defense wins championships.
Yeah.
And Washington's defense is not going to win them a championship. I am sorry. With Blake Corum and that Michigan offense, I don't think they're going to be able to stop them. But I hope I'm wrong. I hope
you're wrong too. Max, tell us. What Max has probably got like 73-6 Michigan or something. Tell us what do you got?
42-35 Washington in overtime.
Oh, well, that's actually reasonable. Okay, fine. Get the hat off. Get it out of here. All right. Nick, what do you got?
I'm going to go with Washington 34-28 over Michigan. like you said, Jared, yeah, defense does win championships a lot, but in college football, we've kind of seen high-powered offenses win a lot of championships, like the LSU team with Joe Burrow, the Alabama team with Mac Jones and Devontae Smith. We've seen
They have some defensive.
Yeah.
but I don't think Washington's secondary isn't great. I'll be honest. I mean, they played decent against Texas. They
They
did.
gave up 31 points.
Quinn Ewers had 262 yards and 1 touchdown. That's not an incredible game. So I think, and I just don't think that Michigan's offense is going to be able to compete with Washington, catch up with Washington's offense. Michael Penix Jr. is just going to drop bombs all over the field to his star receivers, and J.J. McCarthy can't do that. J.J. McCarthy is not the QB that can air it out and compete in shootouts. He's never been
true. But here's what Michigan does well, and here's what they do better, I think, than maybe any team in the country. They control the ball. They can change. They can change who they are. Look at what they did to Penn State. They ran the ball how many times? Like, they didn't even throw the ball in the second half. I'm not saying that's going to work against Washington. Washington does have a run defense that's a little suspect. Their defensive line's good. The front seven's pretty good. I don't think Michigan's just going to be able to run the ball 30, 35 times in a half and put it away if they get a lead at halftime. That's not what I'm saying. But I do think Michigan does a better job than maybe anybody in the country of holding onto the ball and eating a lot of clock when they have to or when they need to, when they want to. I think they could do that to Washington. I think they could, if they jump out to a quick lead, as long as they don't make it, the special teams mistakes have to get shored up. They've got to fix those. If they make a bunch of special teams mistakes against Washington, I feel like, they're the kind of offense, they're going to take advantage of that. They're going to score some points regardless. But I think Michigan wins this. As much as I don't want to say that, I think it's Michigan. I think it's going to be like 31-27, 31-28, somewhere around there. Again, I think Washington will score, but I don't think they're going to score at will because I don't think they're going to have the ball at will like that. So, yeah, 31-27, 34-28, something around there. That's my thought.
It's definitely going to be a high-scoring game, to say the least.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm going to get to just real quick. I'm going to stay in college football before we. I'm going to talk about some New Year's stuff, whatever. Just get to our New Year's resolutions real quick. But listen, guys, Ohio State lost to Cotton Bowl to Missouri 14-3. I called it a defensive struggle. It was weird to type defensive struggle because it was actually a word that I can't say on the show followed by show. It was a crap show, man. Let's just call it that. It was awful. Should we be worried about Ohio State in 2024? I mean, is there a quarterback issue here?
I mean, we learned that after Devin Brown's not it. Nor Lincoln Keenholz right now.
Not right now. Keenholz right now doesn't know the offense well enough, and Brown got hurt. I feel bad for him.
That was his game. That was Brown's game.
Brown didn't get the opportunity, unfortunately, because he did get hurt. But
Yeah.
I actually do agree with Max for once. I don't think he's the answer.
Yeah.
I really
He's
don't.
not.
Because you need more than a quarterback. Like, we're losing people to the draft and transfers. Like, we need to rebuild and reload our offense.
We would've-
completely.
Well, everybody's losing. I mean, everybody's losing 18, 20 guys a year now. All the top teams that get all the 5-star and 4-star guys, they're going to lose most of them. Not most of them, but it happens.
We would have absolutely destroyed Missouri if we had Kyle McCord.
Yeah.
Because he could have. Well, maybe not like.
I don't think we would have destroyed them, but I think we would have
It would have been like 24-10. I mean, they would have scored some points, and they would have, Missouri wouldn't have had the opportunities late like that.
I think we could have beat him like 21-14, especially if we had Harrison too.
But I mean, I think Harrison's going to do something after the check. He's going to say he's not. It's pretty known he's not coming back. I think he would have played in the bowl game, but I think he's going to either do it the day of the national championship or the day after the national championship. Because I mean,
What, prepared for the draft?
yeah, I think he's waiting on it. What happens to Michigan? I think that's what he's doing. I don't know
think
why.
he goes either way. I think he's having a hard time making that. I don't think it's for show. A lot of people, this is for me.
I don't
I
think
think he's having a hard time with it.
Part of it is, it goes full circle. How high do you think you're going to go in the draft? Do you want to continue and graduate college? What about NIL deals? Like some athletes are getting $1 million for NIL
I will
deals.
say right.
You can get more than that than going into the
There is
NFL.
a zero. There is a 0%
Chance.
chance.
Nothing to do with money.
It's like
Yeah,
zero.
that family doesn't have a problem with money. I mean,
There is a 0% chance Marvin Harrison.
I think
Oh,
it's
yeah,
gonna be-
I know.
Zero.
I know he's not coming back. I'm just saying those are the factors that play into any player.
I think I'm honest. I don't know why. He's not coming back. I know he's not. But I have a gut feeling that he's waiting for what happens to Michigan.
That's fair. I mean, I get that, but while we talk about this, can we talk about Ryan Day as well? Because I want to know. I mean, does that loss to Missouri kind of officially put him on notice to where is he on the hot seat for next season? I mean, if something bad happens, like let's say Devin Brown gets the job over Aaron Nolan, he's a stopgap, and they go 8-4. You look at the numbers here. I mean, Ryan Day's been pretty good. He's 56-8 overall. You see him pointing at this. He's like, hey, look at this side. Ignore this stuff over here. Don't worry about the top 5, the college football playoff, and the Michigan numbers. Look at these numbers. I'm good, right? But over there on the right is where it counts, right? I mean, those are the games that we want to see him win.
Those 7 top 10 losses have been to good teams. Alabama,
top 10 teams, of course.
Teams, of course, they're against good teams.
But and they were all good games.
Hat back out. Where's the hat? Get the hat.
No.
At the end of the day, I think Ryan Day is on the hot seat. I think this is his final year to keep his job. Because at the end of the day, if you go 11-1 and lose to Michigan and then play some butt in this bowl game, I'm sorry, you're out. You're out.
To me,
and you lose the bowl game.
To me, Ohio State, it just seems like they're pretty far away from being national title contenders right now. They don't seem like they're on the same level at all as Michigan. I mean, they were close against Michigan. I know they will. But
Neal, who's your college team?
Ohio State fan.
Okay. So I mean, how do you feel about this? I mean, does Ryan Day stay if they have a down year? What goes on? I mean, is there an understanding that there's no quarterback that is really ready right now, or does he not get that benefit of the doubt?
First of all, this bowl game was like a preseason game. He don't even know what you was doing with him.
Right.
So I can't take that in. He was one game out beating in the college tournament for his second year in a row. Last year they came down to a missed field goal for him going to the national championship. So I don't know. It depends on recruiting this year and what they do this year. You can't say he's on the hot seat because all he do is win. So
yeah, I agree with you. I don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be. I don't think it's that bad. It seems bad because it's Ohio State. You want to see them go 12-0 every year.
That's bad.
I am worried though about we've never seen no players have. Obviously, the transfer portal's kicked up a lot. Ohio State is a lot of players in the transfer portal. More than most teams are, and I just don't see the solutions though on the team next year that will make them compete for a national title.
That's what I feel too. I feel like it's going to be a little bit of a rough year. And Natalie, what do you think? I mean, if Ryan Day, if Ohio State goes 8-4, 9-3, doesn't really even compare. I mean, lose a couple of Big Ten games. I mean, they've got new teams coming in now. Do you think he's gone, or Neal said it's not as bad. I don't think it's as bad. What do you think?
I don't think it's that bad, but you gotta do better. You have to improve.
Yeah.
You have to figure out what is going on that we need to fix and change and modify to get better numbers, with Michigan and where it counts.
I think Lou Holtz told it. I think Lou Holtz said they're not quite tough enough, and I think that's true up front. I think that in the trenches, they just don't have the big maulers that they used to on the offensive line. They don't get a lot of push from the defense. The defensive line was better this year, and I think they'll continue to take a step forward. But
games, well, it is. They're the number 3 ranked defense in the country, and I think Ohio State's in a similar spot to where Michigan was a few years ago before they started rattling off these wins against Ohio State and making it to the playoff, where it's
they're about to start cheating. Oh no!
Yeah, you're good, but you're not good enough yet, and you have to figure out. Ryan Day, within the next 2 years, I think, has to figure out something that will get them back on that tier 1.
Well, Hunter Stallions is a free agent. I know that he's available. He's able to be picked up by anyone now. So if they can get a disguise for him or something, hide him on the sidelines or in the stands, they should be all right. But listen, guys, it's 2024. First of all, like I said at the beginning, Happy New Year to everyone. Happy New Year to all of you. Real quick, let's just go around. Do you guys have any New Year's resolutions? Do you do that or no?
I didn't make one this year.
That's not my thing.
I don't really, because I'm like, well, I should always try to, eat well and be a good person or whatever. Like, I don't really ever I don't know. I guess there's one thing I just want to try to I'm going to leave less opportunities on the table. I feel like sometimes, I'm afraid to take a chance or whatever because the fear of failure or whatever it is. I don't care about that anymore. I'm just going to try. Listen, this is kind of funny. On New Year's Day, you guys, I tried ice skating for the first time in my life. 44 years old. I've never had a pair of ice skates on my shoes. And it turns out as it went, I probably never should have had a pair of ice skates or on my feet. I mean, never should have had a pair of ice skates on my feet, but I tried it. I went out there and I tried 5 or 6 times and didn't go anywhere. And I got far enough to the blue line to get called for icing. And I waddled back, but I don't know. You guys have anything you want to do for 2024? Natalie, you have any resolutions?
Yeah, actually. And it was just one because I've never learned and I really want to learn how to swim.
Okay.
And, well, float first, but I really want to learn how to swim, and I'm gonna go to the Y or something and figure this out. And I got to get over
Just
my
move
fear
your
of
arms,
water,
you'll figure it
though.
out.
The big body.
That's what I did.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know how to swim either. I'm not a very good swimmer either. So I'm right with you. I would love to learn. My daughter's in swim lessons right now. I watch her like every week she goes, I'm like in awe of like the things that she does every week. And I'm like,
Swimming's
I
hard.
can do this.
It takes every muscle in your body to
Swimming is hard.
to your toes. Yeah. So I would like, get over that fear of water. Like my friends, like, well, ships, they float. Why can't you float? I'm like, I'm not a ship.
Yeah. No, I'm more of a brick than a ship. Yeah, I'm way more of a brick. It happens. I get it. Neal, what about you, man? Any resolutions? Switch over from being a Boston fan to a Pistons fan while it's you can't be considered a front runner now. So
His resolution is to tell the ref that he's their eligible receiver.
Oh!
my goodness. Throw the challenge flag. I think that's a great spot to end the show for the week, man. That's a come on, ref. That was tough, man. Yeah, you go. Go ahead.
This is Cowboys beat, my Lions. I mean, I thought I was breaking something. You feel me? Let them know I appreciate how, the little cheerleader cowgirls. You wear the cheerleader hat.
Yeah!
Oh,
Yeah, buddy!
all right.
Yeah, real cowgirl, just like them. You feel me?
Man is salty that he lost, even though the game does not matter.
Yeah.
I'll wear this with pride, sir.
Yeah.
That's right, Jared. That's
He
right.
lost.
Give it back.
That's right.
Give me.
I love it, man. We need more hats on this show. That's what we need more hats. That's what we got.
Give me a wheat in my mouth and I'm ready to go. How you doing, Park?
Fair enough. Oh, listen, everybody. Happy New Year. Thanks so much for tuning in today. Thanks for being with us. We appreciate you. We appreciate having some sports to talk about, although that's dwindling now that football's on the way out, and we got a little bit of regular season basketball coming up, and that is what it is. That'll be fun to watch down the stretch. But again, hey, thanks for watching. For Jared, for all the hats on the show today, for Max, for Nick, for Neal, and for Natalie, and for me, I'm your host. I'm Chad. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you guys. We'll see you next week.